Hello guys, welcome. After starting this channel, I learned more and more about Sweden, but I'm sure there's a bunch of things I would be surprised of that are completely different than where I'm from, Canada. So today, I'm gonna learn a little bit more about Sweden by watching a video called 11 Surprising Facts About Sweden. He's Canadian, the guy in the video, so maybe I can relate. Let's check it out.
Now with that in mind, considering we're talking about the beautiful country of Sweden, let me ask you this. Which country has the most beautiful people? If you guys say Canada, I'm just going to be, so honored, because, come on.
Swedish are more beautiful
Sweden
than
is
Canadian.
a country that has an area of 450,295 square kilometers. And as of 2016, it has a population of over 9,995,400 people. And it is estimated that it is already at 10 million, which makes it the 89th most populous country in the world with a density of 23.1 people per square kilometer. And of course, before we get into the cool achievements of this country, we got to talk about Sweden's imports and exports. For example, according to the OEC,
You know, I'm French Canadian. We're around 10 million as well, so very similar there.
it has $159 billion in exports and $154 billion in imports. But Sweden is known for exporting machinery and electrical equipment, which makes up a majority of the exports, coming in at $44.8 billion. This is stuff like telephones, forklifts, you name it, they got it. But refined petroleum makes up on its own 6.9%, and its imports, well, the machinery also makes up 40.2%, with crude petroleum coming in at 7.2%. Now, when we hear of Sweden, we like to probably say, yo, these people speak Swedish. Now, this northern Germanic language is a descendant of Old Norse language, but the crazy part is this wasn't an official language until the country recognized it on July 1st, 2009. But besides this language, Sweden also has some really cool traditions, especially during Christmas.
What language was it before 2009? I mean, it was still Swedish, but it wasn't recognized? What was the language being recognized by Sweden before 2009? This is surprising for sure. I had no idea.
For example, since 1966, the town of Gävle has always put up a giant straw goat. And unfortunately, every single year this straw goat is always burnt down, and it's kind of a non-acceptable tradition. But funny part is, although they keep an eye out for vandals, if the giant goat is burnt down before December 13th, it is rebuilt for the holidays. Now, have you ever heard of the Eric...
Is it still going on in 2025, 2026? That's weird. I mean, that's weird, but that's fun.
Globe, it is a cool structure located in Stockholm. Originally, it was called the Stockholm Arena, and it is the large spherical building in the entire world. It has a diameter of 110 meters by 85 meters tall, and can hold up to 16,000 people for spectacles and games. But that's really not the only thing that makes the Ericsson Globe really important. This is probably one of my favorite facts of all of Sweden that I've heard of so far.
That's cool.
And the fact is that the Ericsson Globe represents the sun. And I never knew this, that Sweden is home to the largest scale model of the solar system in the entire world. Throughout the entire country, the solar system is represented. For example, you have Mercury being the Stockholm City Museum, Earth is represented for Cosmonova Riksmuseet in Stockholm, and as for Pluto, it's located all the way out in the Dellen Lakes in Delsbo. It's crazy. The model of the solar system takes up the entire country of Sweden. It's so cool. And because of that, Sweden takes great pride in its country, and because of that, it takes great care of its ecosystems and life. And to prove that, the country has 15 UNESCO World Heritage Sites, with one still on the consideration list. But one of the most interesting ones is the Strogeotic Ark, which Sweden shares with many other European countries like Germany and Belarus. Now, this ark was inscribed in 2005, and the interesting thing about it, it was built in 1816 to 1855, and it was a series of chain triangulations going over 2,250 kilometers. And this was in order for scientist Frederick George Wilhelm von Struve to get an exact reading of how large the Earth actually was. Of course, when we talk about Sweden, we cannot forget about the famous Ice Hotel. A hotel that is
Nice
completely
hotel.
made of ice, even right down to the cups that you drink out of. It was first constructed in 1990, and every year it's always been rebuilt when it gets cold. And the ice from the structure comes from the Torn River,
Every
and all
year?
the ice makes the
Crazy.
structure over 64,600 square feet.
Wait, you can sleep there? Like, how much is it for a night there?
I've always wanted to go there, but I think it's really expensive. Of course, one other fascinating thing about Sweden is that it hasn't participated in any wars in the last 200 years. This all happened after the Napoleonic Wars, which at the time Sweden had many conflicts with Russia. But the signing of the policy of 1812 was the beginning of its peace. However, the funny part is after the Cold War, Sweden has dropped its principle of neutrality, and although it is not mandatory among its people, to this day they still continue to lower its military might. But when it comes to the history of Sweden, its people have a great story. And one of the most famous stories is it is the first country to have a woman win a Nobel Prize for literature. This was Selma Lagerlöf, who was a teacher and writer. And not only was she the first woman to win for literature, she was the third woman to win a Nobel Prize in history. And let's not forget that since 1901, the country is the country that gives out the Nobel Peace Prizes each year in Stockholm, Sweden. But that's it, guys. Once again, we've learned a lot.
I want to learn more about this lady we just looked at. I don't know. I like to learn about the people winning Nobel Prizes. Let's do maybe a reaction video on her.
A lot about a new country and its people. My name's Dave Walpole, and it's been a pleasure talking about Sweden. But before we get out of here, guys, we want you guys to leave a comment down there for future FT.
Well, maybe I'm ready to go to Sweden now. What do you think, guys? I mean, it's different than in Canada, but not that much. And we have similar weather, which I would like. I like cold weather, so I would be fine there. Guys, thank you so much for watching. See you in the next video. Bye bye.